ordinate of all points on the y-axis is? Now, ordinate means the y-coordinate. Every point has got two coordinates, the x and the y. Remember, the x is also called the abscissa, and the y-coordinate is also called the ordinate. This is something you need to remember. Now, for the x-axis, all the points on the x-axis, like for example the point 1, it can be written as 1, 0. 2, 0. So this is now x-axis. 3 will be 3, 0. 4 will be 4, 0. 5, 0. 6, 0. So for the x-axis, the x-coordinate is any number, but the y-coordinate is always 0. So for the x-axis, you can say the abscissa is any number, while the ordinate is always 0. When it comes to the y-axis, the points are written, 1 is written as 0, 1. 2 will be written as 0, 2. 3 will be 0, 3. 4, 0, 4. So if you noticed here for y-axis, the x-coordinate is always 0, while the y-coordinate is any number. And another name for the x-coordinate is abscissa. And for y is ordinate. So the question here is, ordinate of all the points on the y-axis is any number. The ordinate is the y-axis. Points of the y-axis are in this manner: 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. This is the ordinate, the y coordinate, which can be any number. It could be 0, it could be 2, it could be 3. But the abscissa is always 0 for y-axis. For a 2, 3 and b minus 3, 4, abscissa of a minus abscissa of b. Now remember, first x-coordinate is abscissa. Now the abscissa of a will be 2 minus the abscissa of b. Abscissa of b is the x-coordinate, that is minus 3. So minus of minus 3. So 2 plus 3, which is 5. Here let me do the corrections of the spelling of abscissa. It is A-B-S-C-I-S-S-A. Here too I have spelled it wrongly, and it is A-B-S abscissa. The ordinate of all the points on the x-axis. Now the points on the x-axis are like this. Remember the x-axis, so 1, 0 or 2, 0, 3, 0, where y equal to 0. So the ordinate is the y. Have you seen? This is y, this is y, this is y. So the y, the ordinate is always 0. So the answer here is 0. However, if you see the abscissa, this is abscissa is x. The x is any number. This is for the x-axis. Y-axis is just the opposite. For the y-axis, you have x equal to 0, abscissa is 0, while the y, the ordinate is any number. The perpendicular distance of the point P, minus 3, minus 6 from the x-axis is, let's first plot this point. Minus 3, minus 6 would be here. Now let's see what is the perpendicular from the x and the y axis. So here minus 3, why is it minus 3? Because this is, here it is minus 3 and minus 6. This is for minus 6. Now what will be the perpendicular distance from the x-axis? Now here is your x-axis. So what is the distance of this point from the x-axis? The distance of this point from the x-axis is given by this line. This is the distance from the x-axis. And you know that is 6. So, and 6 is its y coordinate. So the y coordinate, you don't take it minus 6 because distance is never negative. The y coordinate gives distance from x-axis. Which in this case is 6. And what would be its distance from the y-axis? Now where is the y-axis? This is the y-axis. And the distance from the y-axis is given by this line. And you know that this line is equal to 3 units. It is not minus because this is distance. Distance is never negative. So if you see here, write in the right color. So y coordinate gives the distance from the x-axis. And the x coordinate gives distance from y-axis. So when we go to this point now, here we have the point minus 3, minus 6, and I want to find the distance from the x-axis. It will be given to me by the y coordinate. So which is the y coordinate here? So the distance of this point from the x-axis is equal to the y coordinate. So in this case it is 6. So the answer here is 6 units. So I repeat again, the x coordinate is the distance from the y-axis and the y coordinate is the distance from the x-axis. This is a sum many of you have found it difficult. The point P 5 minus 7. So let's plot 5 minus 7. 5 minus 7 would be here. Minus 7 is not given, so we need to extend this a little bit, and this would be minus 7. So 5 minus 7, x is 5, y is minus 7, is this point. So we have this point P is 5 comma minus 7. Draw PM perpendicular to the y-axis. So PM. So we have from P we go right up to the y-axis, and this is your M, the foot of it. This is the M. So what would be the coordinates of M? First, it lies on the y-axis. Now because it lies on the y-axis, its x coordinate will be 0 and the y coordinate would be 5. Here I made a mistake. I've taken just the opposite here. It should have been, actually for this point, I'll do the other one too. This point is actually minus 7, 5. Hence it becomes 0, 5. But the point given to us here is 5 minus 7. And 5 minus 7 would be, I'll just change the point because it does not fit in this graph. I will take it, I'll just cancel this out, and I will take the point as 5 minus 4, and we'll find the coordinates of M. So 5 minus 4 would be here, and I need to find PM perpendicular. So if I want to draw my perpendicular, it would be right here, perpendicular. Now this point here, it's on the y-axis, so your x is 0 and it will be minus 4. So M will be 0 minus 4. Go up and do the sum now. 5 minus 7, I have just changed this would be 2, 4, change the coordinates, and here I have to plot 5 minus 7. So 5 minus 7 would be somewhere here. And now we made PM perpendicular to the y-axis. So this is my PM, this is M of course, and this is PM perpendicular. So this is the base, this is M. This is not M, this is P. So here I have my M. Now the coordinates of M, it's on the y-axis, so it's on the y, so x is 0 and it will be minus 7. So the correct option will be 0 minus 7. And just to add to this, if they were to ask you what is the foot of the perpendicular on the x-axis, so this would be x-axis here, this point. And this point, since it is on the x-axis, your y will be 0. It will be 5, 0. The point whose ordinate is 3 and lies on the y-axis. So two things are there. It lies on the y-axis. That means we have 2 points, x and y. Lies on the y-axis means x equal to 0. And ordinate is 3. So 0, 3. So this is the right option. For x-axis always, for y-axis always x equal to 0. For this, let's first just go over the coordinates. Quadrants. The first quadrant, positive, positive. Then we have the second quadrant. This is negative, the x is negative. So here we have negative and positive. When we come to the third quadrant, this is negative and this is also negative. So negative, negative. And when we come to the fourth quadrant, we have the x positive, the y negative. So this will be positive, negative. Now if a is less than 0, means a is negative, and b is greater than 0, means a is positive. AB will lie in which quadrant? B. So it is negative, positive. So where is negative, positive? Negative, positive is out here in the second. So it will lie in the second quadrant. I repeat again, when they say A is less than 0, means A is negative, B is greater than 0, means A is positive. So the quadrant is negative, positive. Negative, positive is in the second quadrant. P39, Q minus 3 minus 4. Then abscissa of P. Now remember, abscissa is x coordinate of P, ordinate of Q, y coordinate of Q. So what is the x coordinate of P? Is 3 minus y coordinate of Q, which is minus 4. So minus 4. So this is 3 plus 4, which is equal to 7. So this is your right option. A similar sum now, minus 6, 3 be a point. Let's plot minus 6, 3. So minus 6 and 3 will be here. So this is our point A, which is my x is minus 3, y minus 6 and y is 3. Now draw AL perpendicular to x-axis. So A, and this is L here, perpendicular to the x-axis. And so this is our point L. So what will be the coordinates of L? Now it lies on the x-axis. So immediately the y is 0 and the x is minus 6. So the option here is minus 6, 0. This is a perpendicular. However, if you were to ask what was a perpendicular, the foot of the perpendicular on the y-axis, then you would have drawn this line here. And this point would be the foot of the perpendicular on the y-axis. Because it is on the y-axis, your x will be 0 and your y will be now 3. That will be the foot of the perpendicular on the y-axis. The perpendicular distance of P, 4, 3 form the x-axis. Remember, the perpendicular distance from the x-axis is y coordinate. So here the y coordinate is 3. So this is the distance from the x-axis. And this is distance from the x coordinate is distance from y-axis. And here they are asking you the question, the perpendicular distance from x-axis, which will be 3. If the perpendicular distance of a point P from the x-axis is 5 units, that means y coordinate, and the foot of the perpendicular lies in the negative direction of x-axis, then the point P has, so the foot of the perpendicular is in the negative, so it must be somewhere here in this region. And they say the distance from the x-axis is 5 units, so it could be on the top, or it could be, so here when they say distance from the x-axis could be 5 units, but they've not told you exactly where, so it could be on the top 5 here. If it's on the top, this distance, so you'll get y equal to plus 5, or it could be 5 units down, this also 5, so it could be y equal to minus 5. So the option here is y equal to plus 5 or minus 5. On the top it would be plus 5, and if it is below the x-axis it would be minus 5. But the distance from the x-axis, remember, is a y coordinate. A point is at a distance 3 units from the x-axis. So distance from x-axis, remember, is y coordinate. And it is 7 units from the y-axis. Distance from the y-axis is x coordinate. So if you want to write this point now, it'll have two coordinates. One is x and one is y. X and y. Now the distance we said from its x-axis is 3, which must be the y coordinate here, 3. And the distance from the y-axis, they have said, is 7. So distance from y-axis is x coordinate, so this is 7. So the point is 7, 3. This distance from the y-axis is x coordinate here, and distance from the x-axis is y coordinate. Again to repeat it, so distance from x-axis, they said, is equal to 3. And distance from y-axis has been given as 7 here in this. And we know distance from x-axis is y coordinate. So y equal to 3. And distance from y-axis is x coordinate. Therefore, the point is 7, 3. The abscissa of any point on the y-axis. Now any point on the y-axis, the x is 0, and this could be any point, it could be A. This is a point on the y-axis. Now they said the abscissa is the x coordinate, so the x coordinate, and you know the x coordinate now is 0. For x-axis, any point on the x-axis is given as A0. So here the ordinate is 0, whereas abscissa could be any number. So for this again we draw the 4 coordinates, the 4 quadrants. So in the first you have positive and positive. In the second is positive and negative. So you have negative, positive. In the third, this is negative and negative, negative, negative. And in the fourth, you have positive and negative. Now ordinate means y. Y is negative in which quadrant? Let us just mark y being negative. Here y is positive. Here also y is positive. Here y is negative, this is y is negative, and here also this is y is negative. So in which quadrants is y negative? In the third and in the fourth. So the correct option here is this one, third and fourth.